Okay, moisture loss, and in this we are talking about chicken. Moisture loss during incubation of chicken eggs. So basically, pretty much on all species of bird actually, from the point of lay to the point of hatch, you're going to lose around 1/3 of the weight of that egg. So the chick is typically going to be around 2/3 the weight of that original egg, and that's quite important. Why is that? Because if you've got a bird that loses enough moisture loss, they're going to be quite inquisitive. They're going to stand quite tall. If you lose too much moisture loss during incubation, that bird's going to be a little bit depleted, not going to be quite as strong. If you don't lose enough moisture loss, that bird's going to be too heavy. It will sit down on its hocks. It's not going to go looking for feed and water when it hatches out. Now the best indication of this is doing it around your transfer time. Now we're assuming your transfer time is around day 18 and a half. At day 18 and a half, what we want to be seeing is around 10.5 to 12.5% moisture loss. If it's too little, you're going to get it with a small bird. If it's too less, you're going to end up with a big bird that doesn't perform. We don't want that. So we're going to measure this routinely in the hatchery. What are we going to need to do that? We're going to need a set of scales. We're going to need a test weight. Remember, any check-in that we do, we need to ensure that it's correct. Going to need some kind of notepad, very simple, a pen, some tape or tag, because we are going to mark on those trays so we can go back and get them again. Obviously your eggs and your tray that you're going to use. Now here we go, we've got our scales and we are going to use our test weight just to bring that in. I think I have to press this. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we're going to test it. You can use any weight you want, but here we just made sure it was correct. Now we know it's correct, we're going to bring in our eggs. So day one, we're going to weigh our eggs, and here 150 eggs, and we've got 9,900 grams. And then we're going to wait till day 18. Again, we would retest these scales before we do this, but here also you see there's a crack and a rot, so we're going to remove those two. And so we're going to actually weigh 148 eggs now plus the tray, and that's going to give us a weight of 8803.2. We're going to weigh that precise tray, and we're going to weigh that tray, not an average of your typical tray weight. We want to know exactly what that tray is, and I'll explain why in a moment. But that gives us two measurements that we can now get our average egg weight by. And so at the beginning it was 60 grams, and by the end it was 53.4. So we lost 6.60 grams, which is 11% of the original egg weight. So here we know we're good and we don't need to worry about it. Now, why do we have to weigh that precise tray? During the production of these trays, they're put into injection molding, and the compound that they use will depend on what's available in the market, so they can change. That compound is going to change weight depending on the batch of trays you use. The other thing that's going to change that is when they're put into the injection mold, they are put under pressure, and depending on where those trays are made, that pressure can be variable. So you're going to end up with a tray that's more dense or less dense. So typically between batches of trays you can see up to 10% drift in weight. If you take an average tray weight, depending on what tray you actually use from which batch, you can really mess up your numbers. So always make sure you take that actual tray weight and not an average. And on that, I hope that helps.